let's talk about your Dallas Cowboys at the Carolina Panthers, Week 15. Um, it went kind of as expected, and there's some people who were thinking, with Cooper Rush being the backup, and Panthers occasionally scare some teams, they might sneak out of here with a win. They did not. The only thing that surprised us coming from the Panthers this week was the revelation that Xavier Legette likes to eat raccoon. And if you've heard him speak, you might think, maybe, that accent, like he's deep south, and it's pretty rich. And then I guess I heard Jerry Jones, I think, like squirrel, like all in the same week. What's happening? Anyway, they are from the same general area that we're from, so I'm like, I guess.
Yeah, it's possible.
It's not that crazy. But anyway, on to the game. It seemed like you kind of played your game the way you wanted to play it this game. I mean, only a couple of mistakes. I will say that you gave the referees a sore arm, it looked like.
That's what we do. 14
accepted penalties, my word. I think it might be the highest I've seen this year. And it's not like the Panthers were unscathed. I think the refs just were in a bad mood. 22 accepted penalties on the game. I think they had more. They got close in accepted yardage to either quarterback's passing yardage. You got after Bryce Young. He is still a get-after-a-bull quarterback. It's good to see Micah Parsons getting out there. 2 sacks, right? Yeah, he had 2 more. Exciting stuff. It was good to see that coming out of y'all. I know some people are like, no, we need to lose for draft pick. And I was like, nah, not at this point. Now you're talking about the difference between the 15th draft pick and the 16th draft pick or the 18th. I was like, it's just play the game, man. So, and I think I mentioned you on the phone the other day. I was like, I am far more sold, and I know it's the Panthers. I know. I think they're 32nd in the league against run, but I like the way Rico Dowdle runs. I don't like his last name. That's like my only thing. For some reason, saying the word Dowdle just throws me. But
interesting.
I really like what he's got burst, and I just really like the way he runs. CD getting some, of course, because that's he's extremely reliable. So it was kind of. Not to skip ahead, but kind of like the Cardinals game. This was like, this is the Cowboys I expected to show up against a bad team. They played their game exactly the way I thought they would. This was what I thought I would see. So, what did you think when you watched
this? I thought, it's the Panthers. I think that's the big thing. The score I feel like was closer than it should have been. Coker had that one really long pass, 80-yard pass or something, that was half of, Bryce Young's stats. Good for him. Well done on that one. But, outside of that, they had no run game that they could get going. You take away those 80 yards, he had 130 yards passing, 2 interceptions, and would have had no touchdown. So, this is awesome. Look, from the defensive side of the ball in particular, it's like, man, this is like a playoff defense. And again, the Panthers are not a great measuring stick for that, but this is not the only team we played. And we're going to get a real measuring stick of that the next 3 weeks. So we'll see how we really look with that. On offense, there's a lot of positives. It's beautiful to see Rico Dowdle get some great games in, and not just the yardage, but the carries. It's great when you get that game where you get the long run where you have great stats and all that, but you only had 18 carries or whatever. That's great. That's awesome. But this is a young kid. I want to see him get 25 carries like he had, 150 yards. His longest run of the day was 12 yards. Like, that's a workhorse day. I want to see, can he handle that? Maybe not every game, but regularly. Cooper had a great game, 3 touchdowns. Not all to one person. With that being said, I'm a little concerned that if we try to just throw to CeeDee Lamb next week and the week after, that's not going to work against those teams. Like, you can't just throw to one guy. So, I get it. It's the Panthers. We got not early, but by the third quarter, it was in hand. And so, we probably just did whatever we felt like doing on some level. I just want to see us get back to kind of not just, obviously we had some balance, but just spreading the ball around a little bit, kind of looking forward, I guess. From the defensive side of the ball, again, poor Bryce. I feel for the guy. This is not a great game to learn a lot about Bryce Young. Was there a single play where he wasn't running for his life in this kind of a thing? And the answer was like maybe. And if he wasn't running for his life, he threw an 80-yard touchdown or interception. So it was a rough game for him. I felt for him. I kind of wish that Carolina, knowing that they're not going to the playoffs, that they had just run the ball more. Like, just run the ball then. Like, I get it. You're getting blown out. It stinks. But, like, run the ball more. Give your team a chance and really also give Bryce a break every once in a while. So, I like what we saw from the Cowboys. I don't know. It's such a weird thing to be 6-8, especially in our division. It's like probably pretty much over at this point. We don't exactly have an easy schedule the next 3 games. So, but there are 3 games where if you won all 3, it's like maybe we have something. But I anticipate we will lose most of those. I think if we took one of those, I'd be pretty intrigued by that. Not like you said, not to jump too far ahead on that. But yeah, and the other thing I'd say is just Cooper Rush. I feel like he's had a fumble, like the last couple of games, and it's like, hey, buddy, let's try to protect the ball just a little bit more. Let's not make it easier, because these other teams coming up, those are unforgiving mistakes that they're not going to, they're not going to let us have that ball back very easily. So yeah, we'll see how that all works out. But yeah, it was a fun game. It was a fun game to watch if you're a Cowboys fan. If you're a Carolinas fan, I'm sorry. So yeah, what any other takeaways that you thought of from that one?
No, not really. To your point about using CeeDee Lamb less, is like that. I mean, that was part of the problem. Even when Dak was healthy, it was like you really just have the one. And if you go up against a team with a Patrick Surtain or something, there's only a couple of Patrick Surtains. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Some guy who can lock him down for the most part. That you got some passing problems. Getting the run game moving is kind of late in the season, but that is encouraging moving forward, because that can be one of your more complementary weapons. It also depends on what you add next offseason. Moving forward for the rest of this season, though, yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't have as much. The NFC playoff picture is rough at 9 wins. If you can get to 9 wins, that is very small. So I'm looking more at next year. I barely think the Cardinals have a chance at 10 wins. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what they do. I'd love to see you add like one more really good target and then have Rico on the cheap for a minute. That would be nice. With Jake Ferguson as your pretty good tight end. I don't think he's the lead or anything, but I do kind of like him. So that kind of thing moving forward. I felt like your defense in a lot of ways matched up very well against them. It's the Panthers, but like they're stout-ish in the middle of their offensive line. You guys attack from the edges. So I felt like y'all were able to really use that to your benefit. So we'll see moving forward. But yeah, your defense. I agree with you that your defense is a playoff caliber defense. I don't know that your team can quite be carried just by the defense. This isn't the Legion of Boom necessarily, but It is certainly not going to be the weak link in a team that's trying to make it out. So. Yeah, if nothing else, your defense will be fun to watch for the next 3 weeks. See what they can do disruptively. So, who do you play next week? I haven't even looked yet, to be honest.
Tampa Bay. Ooh. Yes, we've got Tampa, Philly, and then Washington.
Okay.
So, and then Philly and Washington, I think, are playing this week. So it's like, there's a lot of some people are going to be beating each other up, here at the end, and it really only matters if we basically win out, and even then, I think it's pretty iffy. But yeah, if we win out and beat Washington in that last game, I think we have a shot.